Conzo, do you anticipate being at full strength and having all your players available on Saturday?
As of today, yes.
Colin?
Hey, Conzo, I was just wondering what some of your takeaways were from how the program and the team handled this week and change layoff you guys have had.
I guess as well as you can handle it. Guys that were able to get shots up, got shots up. We had our first practice yesterday as a team. So, man, and the guys seem to be in good shape considering. But I don't think that, I've been in leagues where you had a week off, so I don't think that's a bad thing. Because oftentimes you're playing a lot of games, it can take a toll on your body, consecutive games. But so having a week out off is not a bad thing in my opinion. But they seem to be fine.
Natalie?
It's funny you mentioned conditioning because I was actually going to touch on that. Week off. Do you have any concerns heading into the game? Maybe it's not conditioning, but maybe mentally, after having that layoff, not be able to get together?
I really don't. At the end of the day, it's basketball, and you deal with a lot of situations. You deal with injuries during the season. COVID is obviously a factor in this. So a lot of stuff happens during the season. I think if I was a player, I had a chance to take some time off, it'd be great because it's nonstop. And I think that the thing that we I wouldn't say we overlook or don't really talk about now is the mental stress. I mean, when you're dealing with, you got some guys, and not for us, you got some players that have been on their campuses since June and haven't gone home, not even for Christmas holiday. That's a hard thing to deal with so we can have a successful season. So you have to respect and admire the fact that these young men and women have made that sacrifice, which is not an easy one. And we take for granted as coaches, administrative people, we are at home. So we're able to be at the home base. So to get this far in the season, I think it's very successful so far, and we still got ways to go. And we just got to try to take it one day at a time. Hopefully we get to a finish line.
Mitch?
Conzo, we haven't gotten a chance to talk to you since post-game from that Mississippi State loss. And I know in that moment you said, you kind of didn't know exactly what happened. I guess just what were your takeaways after watching the film?
I mean, first and foremost, there's no excuse we lost the game. But it's hard to describe. I thought we had one of our better first halves since I've been coaching. Just the first half, where the shots are falling, but just the ball moving, a lot of on both sides of the ball. Because normally you can have good halves, you can score a lot of points, but just what you saw on both sides of the ball, I thought it was great. But it just in the second half, I don't know. It's hard to pick one thing because it wasn't like we weren't aggressive. Seems like we played hope. Now you had breakdowns, especially on some defensive assignments. You had breakdowns. We got to be up a little up in the ball screen. Then you go back and watch film. DJ Stewart made some tough shots. He made some big shots, some tough shots, some contested shots, and it just slowly, and it happened. And the thing I said to our guys, just like in last year, like for example, we play an Auburn team who's a ranked team, and we're a team trying to find our way, and you beat them. But you had an energy level to win that game. It's the same thing when we walk into the gym now. Because you have a number in front of your name, you become a different team. So the approach for other teams is different. So they and not to take away from Mississippi State, they're a talented team, and they played to their ability and they won the game. But we didn't. It was hard to pinpoint one thing. We had one turnover the first half, and you ended up having I think 7 in the second half. Drew had a couple live ball turnovers. Javon had 2 turnovers. And it just that type stuff can't happen, but it happened. But besides all that, I'm on calls with several coaches around the country. Just we probably talk, once or twice a week, just about the mental state of your team, those sorts. How can you help better your players and all that, and I said for me, even the Tennessee game and that half against Mississippi State, it's like when it starts to go, it's gone. Like, how do you reel it back in? And I'm not sure if we, and just my 2 cents, and it's not worth anything, but just my 2 cents, I'm not sure we've done such a good job of fostering relationships with our players that it's hard for them to challenge each other when they need to challenge each other. because of the chemistry and it's so close. So, and we have to get that part because I mean, Tennessee, we didn't play well all, but it's hard to just pinpoint one thing in the Mississippi State because I thought we had such a great first half. And I guess I can safely say we let our guard down in the second half, and whatever happened, happened.
Sweetie?
Hey, Gonzo, in talking about that mental, I guess, space for the players, did you guys do anything over the pause in terms of just zooming and game planning or anything, or was that more of like an actual break or anything?
No, we were on the floor. Outside of taking the mandatory day off, we were on the floor for the guys that could work out. So it wasn't a team. Yesterday was the first team workout. So the guys that were on the floor, you do skill work and stuff. You break down, you watch film with them, and then the weight room. But it's in small groups or individually. So yes, we did do something outside of the days that we had to take off.
Jerry?
Yeah, Gonzo, I'm wondering, in Kentucky, their last two games, they won by 18 at Florida, then lost by 20 to Alabama at home. And it seems like several teams in the league, there have been big highs and followed by big lows. And I'm wondering, hard to get a handle on what is this team. I'm wondering, is that just the normal ups and downs of a season, or is there something about this year, COVID or whatever, that leads to the inconsistencies?
I'm not sure if I'd say normal because you watch some scores like I watched the score, not the game. Oklahoma and TCU is almost like 30 or 40 points. I mean, you don't expect that in a normal season. Yeah, it's just I don't want to blame anything on COVID because you still have to prepare and try to win basketball games. But I think more than anything, it shows and proves that there are other things that are going on in this world outside of the normal things that you deal with. And you just got to try to find a way to help your guys understand. But you have to have the ability to listen as well, because of course you want to win games as a coach, but you have to listen to what they're saying and what's going on. And you got to have a pulse on your team. And then again, these are not easy times. I mean, just think about teams that are able to play all their games with all their guys. That's impressive.
Vahe?
Sorry, I thought I was getting unmuted. Hey, Konzo, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, hi, good to see you. Our very ever thoughtful colleague, Ben Frederickson at the Post-Dispatch, wrote something last week about the need for sportsmanship in these times with everything happening in society. And it got me thinking about whether you think there are lessons to be extrapolated from sports and sportsmanship and how you guys conduct yourselves that might be applicable to what we see in Washington and elsewhere right now.
And, I think maybe I need to read Ben's article. But the other part, I just think, I think sports have always been a safe haven and a peace of mind and also a way to get away from real life issues. But I think in our society now, we can't run from those issues anymore. We have to deal with them. Even as athletes, we have to deal with them. And I think even for you guys, when you write, I think I can safely say everybody on here has been great with me. And whether you have to write critical articles or not, you've done your job, and I think you've been fair. But I think you guys play a role in all that too, because though you're writing about sports, it's still life. There are life issues, and we certainly have work to do. But what happened in DC is unfortunate. For me as a black man, you sit there, you look for answers. It's hard. It really is hard because one thing I would never get, even though I just don't understand where hate comes from. It's one thing to dislike an individual, dislike somebody that harmed you, but it's hard. When there's so many other things we can be dealing with, and when you don't know your days are numbered, you don't know how long you live on this earth, you can die of cancer, so many other things. And to have somebody hating you, got to look over your shoulders. That's not a good way to live. And we have to be better. But I think you guys play a role in that.
And just one follow-up, Konzo, if you don't mind, the most fundamental thing, one of the most fundamental things in sports is you guys talk about it all the time. You leave it on the floor and, may the better team win. And I hope I'm not putting you in a delicate spot, but you see an application to that in terms of what we've seen happening, if people would handle that better outside the sports world?
Well, I think we got ways to go, because when you hate, it's hard to get past anything. It's one thing when if you want to be specific, and ain't no sense in beating around the bush if you're talking, politics. I mean, you can vote whoever you want to vote for. That's your right. You have that right. That's your business. But we have to find a way to remove the hate, and we have to make decisions based on what's best for people. If this country is about a democracy and helping everybody, then let's make decisions based on what's best for the whole. And again, I go back to, at the end of the day, because a lot of stuff flies over my head because I'm not behind the scenes, but we have to do a better job. I mean, why not plant lemon trees, apple trees, all these type of trees in low-income areas, so that way I have good food to eat? Because I shouldn't be respectful, and I no disrespect to those fast food restaurants, but I shouldn't be eating that. That's not good food for me. So why not have watermelon trees and all these type of things and fresh food everywhere, spinach, and grow those in those areas so I can eat that. So now I'm walking down the street, I can just get an apple and eat it because that's healthy for me. And those are the things, good health care, trying to eliminate poverty, trying to eliminate homelessness. I mean, when you have people that make billions of dollars, how do you have somebody homeless in this country? When you have empty school buildings, why not fix them up, make them into apartment housing, and below you put restaurants and food places like Whole Food stores, that sort of thing. So now the people that live there can work there, and now they can feed themselves. I mean, just that's sickening. But we have ways to go. So I'm not sure we'll ever get to where we need to be as long as we have hate in front of everything we do.
Thanks, Konzo.
Ben Arnett.
Coach, before the pause, there was kind of an ongoing conversation about confidence and how you keep a team's confidence up throughout the ups and downs of the season. And I'm curious, what that has been like for your team over the last week, as you haven't been able to have the whole group together. You had to skip a couple games because of COVID. And what's that ongoing conversation kind of been like with your group?
Oh, it's the same that we would have if we had a whole group of. It's just life stuff. I mean, this is something we have to deal with. Now, if it's something our team was dealing with, nobody else in America is dealing with, then that's different. But this is life stuff, and I equate it to, and I talk about, okay, when you become a father, a husband, and all those sorts of things, you have to deal with issues. You lose your job, or something happened to one of your children, they have to go to the hospital, be in the hospital for an extended period of time. How do you deal with these issues? It's all life stuff, man. This is a sport. This is basketball. This is entertainment. This is not pressure. I think oftentimes we put pressure on ourselves, but this is entertainment. We're blessed to actually be playing this game. But I don't know whether I don't know whether it's pressure or lack of confidence, anything. It's basketball, man. You should be grateful to play it if you're able to play it.
Mitch.
Konzo, I know Drew's had his wrist taped up and lately. Is he limited at all, or is that
Not at all? Not at all. He's good to go. He's on the wood.
Eric.
Konzo, what are your early impressions of this Texas A&M team? It seemed like last night they won at Mississippi State, kind of a role reversal from what happened when you played them. Just what are your thoughts about what Buzz has got going down there?
I think they're a gritty team, a team that plays together, a team that'll grind you out on both sides of the floor. So you have to, they're one of those teams, you have to finish the game. You have to finish your plays at the rim. You have to follow through your shots. They do a great job of sprinting you off the three-point line. So it's the next thing. So if you settle, then they're very aggressive. But you have to stay aggressive from start to finish. You can't be passive. You got to take opportunities. It's just a physical game. And that's simply it. You know what you're getting when you play against them. So you better be battle tested, and you better strap on your helmet.
Dave Matter.
Konzo, when you're coming off a tough loss, does this team have one or two guys you can go to and say, okay, you're the leaders that need to carry everybody else? Or when you have a bunch of veteran guys, you just kind of lean on the group? How does that work?
I think this is more of a lean on the group. And they do it together. Certain guys fit certain roles, whether it's on the offensive side, defensive side, locker room side. So it's a unique team from that standpoint. Everybody kind of steps up and play their part.
Jerry?
Yeah, Conzo, I wonder how important is it for any coach, consistency, to know game in and game out, you're going to get this from this guy?
Well, I think that's very important. Anytime you can have a player or two that you can count on every night, you can hang your hat on, that's a great attribute or a great person to have on your team, whether it's scoring, great defender, great shot blocker, facilitator, whatever it is, that's an asset I think every coach will love to have, especially if you got multiple guys like that.
Thanks.
Got time for only a couple more because we gotta get the players in before practice. Joel?
Hey, Conzo, I wasn't here earlier in the meeting, so I'm not sure if you answered something like this, but Mark Few described his pause back in December as one of the biggest challenges, probably the biggest challenge he faced in his 20 years of coaching. How would you kind of describe your isolation days and the toll it took on your guys mentally and physically?
I don't think it was that bad. I've seen a lot of things in my life. It just, I think for anything, if you can get away and it gives you a peace of mind, I mean, I think just to be able to calm down and breathe, and, to be grateful and just move on to the next day. So for us, I don't think it was that bad. Maybe each individual player might say something differently, but I don't think that was the case, because sometimes just to breathe a little bit and help you move forward. Because sometimes, one thing about the SEC season, once it starts, you have no time to reflect until the season is over. But this gives you time to reflect, reevaluate, let's make some adjustments here. Anything we can tweak before we finish this stretch run, if we're able to finish, because really nowadays it's one game at a time. So I think for us, I think it was a good thing. I don't think there was anything bad about it. Was it different? Yes. And the reason why you're out, yes, that's an issue. But there was no pain or no stress levels high for me, no.
Did you see any like rust or anything in their first practice back the other day?
No, we actually had our first one. So we had our first practice yesterday. I didn't think it was bad at all, because with groups we were able to get individual work in, and we got some sprints in while we were doing it. So I thought the guys came back relatively in good shape. But again, like other leagues, we might be one of the few leagues that don't have a week off. So that week off is really not a bad thing.
All right, last question. Go ahead. Okay. We can't.